using all his mettle and extremely hard on Larry and Brock to be able to drive that close to a car in front of you and not touch him. The headline being not touching.
That's true. Larry has been diving to the inside, then to the outside, just eases out a little bit, no contact. You can see the front of Larry's car is still totally intact. No bumps there. But it must be coming frustrating. He's trying to say to Crompton, come on.
Bit of a tap there.
Get up, says Crompton, and Perkins says, that should fire Larry on. He runs across.
Oh, yes. Now, there was a little bit of, I told you so. Neil lost his cool.
Yep.
Tried to get even. He stuck his hand out the window. That didn't do much.
You can't drive him if you've got one hand off the wheel.
And then virtually tried to run Larry off the track.
Oh, Rocky sideways. He's all over Perkins. It's all happening here at Winton, let me tell you. And Dick Johnson has just pulled Crompton up in about half a lap and gets by him on the outside and a lap car at the same time. So Johnson coming back into it.
Well, we didn't see what happened to Dick in the earlier laps where he lost it down on turn 1 and 2. But he's certainly come back with a vengeance and certainly looking like being having a chance to get a good position here and not be out of it in the second heat.
They exit Tui's corner, or Penrite corner I should say, on the way to Tui's. Brocky, who hasn't got to really worry about that front spoiler now because he's -1.
That's gone.
And you'll notice the same sort of respect coming from Peter as Larry Perkins was showing earlier to Neil Crompton.
Peter Brock has hardly hit anybody in his life, Mike. Drove hundreds and hundreds of laps in front of him and never had to worry about getting harpooned from behind. An extremely sporting driver and obviously a record that lots of people would like to have behind their names.
It's a fabulous dice going on between these two Commodores and Dick Johnson gaining all the time. Brock tries to close it under brakes on Larry Perkins' Castrol car. Oh, Larry gets it very sideways going in there. Oh, there's one that's gone off the Diet Coke car just on the exit.
Jeff Fool.
Yep.
Have a little problem coming up through the S's there. Longhurst still certainly within touch of Bow.
Well, the Peter Jackson team looked like 1-2 yesterday after qualifying with AJ and Glenn Seaton. That blew out a little this morning and Alan Jones' car is parked. He's in the pits with Andy Raymond.
Yeah, Team Peter Jackson, mixed fortunes today. Alan, how do we describe what happened?
Mark was holding people up and I think John got a bit impatient. He got on the power a little bit earlier than Mark, a la Simmons Plains. Touched him up the backside and they both went to spin and I thought, oh well, this will do me. I'll just go around the outside and I'm in second, and as I was grinning, Thomas hit me at 1,000 mile an hour up the side and launched himself. But as I went to drive around the outside, Thomas didn't button off. He literally just, I don't know, he copped this almighty whack on the left hand side.
Along the start finishing straight, John Bower. Tony Longhurst is all over him like a crook suit. And there's not much he can do about it because that Falcon seems to have got wider.
Well, it's not that it's actually got any wider, Mike, but he's definitely, if Tony makes the mistake of going up alongside John, John will just turn left or right, whatever suits him, and it will be at Tony's peril. He can make this look good, and he can make it look frustrating, but in reality, he's running third, John Bowes in second, and there isn't going to be much he's going to be able to do about it.
Well, if you're in the Bimmer, what's the only part of the track you believe you'd have a shot at him? On the inside of the first turn?
No, well, he's got to actually cut this hairpin and try and slingshot himself down the main straight and pull out of the slipstream. He's doing everything he can. I mean, we don't have to ask whether Tony Longhurst has got driving credentials, but it's just one of the, here he comes. But at his peril, because that Falcon will just slice that BMW right in two.
Well, they've got a couple of 2-litre cars just ahead of them. This is going to be interesting stuff on the inside. Here comes Longhurst, sits in the draft.
He's still got 5 laps to make this happen, and if he plays his cards right, he might just unsettle John Bowe, but John's memory of having this happen to him in the Sierra will still be strong, and he will simply drive the defensive line through every corner, and Longhurst will have very few opportunities to accelerate by.
So the battle for second and third continues. The little Bimmer with Tony Longhurst all over him, around the inside, then darts to the outside. Imagine how busy if John's looking in the mirrors. It'll be both sides of it at one stage here at the moment. They exit the top end corner of Tui's. They come down this back straight. It's not a long back straight by any means at Winton Motor Raceway, only 2.6 kilometres.
Into the S's. Not likely to have much damage here, but Bow a little bit slower coming up onto the straight than the BMW. Tony will be flat to the boards through here.
Now, isn't this a scrap? This is Brocky. Dick Johnson trying to clear him through the field. Looks like Wayne Gardner in amongst them, who got around sideways in the first turn, has made up an awful amount of ground.
Well, Brock's still not been able to get by Perkins. Another determined fellow when it's a question of letting anybody by. You pass Larry Perkins, you don't get given any opportunities. But Johnson, a superb drive coming back from 19th, back up onto the tail of this group.
And Wayne Gardner's run to join Johnson. He's been held up just marginally by Peter Brock. There's Gardner going through on John Smith in the number 6.
Tremendous car control required around here. It's all right to put your foot down in a straight line, but the fellows in front need to be able to get through these corners and get through snappily. Big, long right-hander fader. Again, right-hander into the semi-hairpin here. Johnson letting Brock know he's there. Wayne Gardner certainly suggesting to Dick he can move over anytime he likes.
Make his own arrangements, I'd say. Dick would be
this is great driving.
The reply. This has been very, very close indeed. There's the gap again. First back to second. And here comes third for second.
Again. A little bit of camera angle there working, but still that's a tight move.
Taking the last lap forward. 1 lap to go. Tony Longhurst zeroing in behind car number 18, John Bower. Just sits there right on the bumper. No point of any heroics for the last half lap, but Tony's going to make John work hard for it just the same. They head up to Penrite Corner, the very tight right-hander, and this is where Longhurst is just superb over the bumps through here.
Yeah, he's throwing it around using the bumps.
He'll have a lot more usable rubber for the second heat this afternoon, will Tony Longhurst. The only place he'll suffer will be the start. So they come out onto the back straight now for the final time. Glenn Seaton is already at the end of the back straight, and here he comes, car number 30. What looked like being a rather dismal day after drawing 6. He finished second in the dash. And the baby-faced assassin strikes at Winton, heat number 1. Seaton, daylight to second. Wait for second as he comes across the line. It'll be John Bowen right alongside. Will, of course, be Tony Longhurst back in third place. Fourth place, I think you'll find, may go to Jimmy Richards. And right behind him. And coming together, as you can see up there, with Wayne Gardner.
And Dick Johnson.
So it has been afternoon so far of carnage in the touring cars at Winton Motor Raceway, with heat number 1, the winner, Glenn Seaton. And let's check them out for you on the Shell Racecourse. Seaton the winner, and that puts him to the top of the championship point standings. John Bower finishes in second, Tony Longhurst third, Jimmy Richards fourth, and Paul Morris fifth. And we'll be back at Winton in just